Hi there, my name is Mr. Thorncraft, and I'll be teaching the 2-unit physics in 2021 and beyond to the Year 11 students next year. And I'll be giving a brief description of what the course is about here. Before we begin, there is a suggested requirement, and that is that the students at least take 2-unit mathematics course to help them cope with the mathematic problem solving that we encounter in physics. So there is quite a high amount of numerical problem solving that the students will need to do in this physics course, and that can involve using formulas, substituting values, rearranging equations, crunching numbers, coming up with answers, and also selecting the correct formula to use for a particular problem. So 2-unit mathematics at least is recommended. Much of it is about skills, using skills, so there's quite a bit of skill work. Approximately 30% of the course is based on skills, and the skills that they encounter in physics include practical investigations. Nothing new in science. Throughout years 7 to 10 they would have done quite a lot of practical investigations, practical work, laboratory work as they move along. But of course in 2-unit physics the level increases. Undertaking laboratory experiments on a regular basis, using digital technologies to record data. That can be as simple as using a mobile phone, but other technologies as well. Fieldworks like excursions, secondary sourcing investigations, which involves the location and finding data on the net or they're provided with, quite often in the form of problems in exams, and being able to reorganise that data to draw conclusions and find patterns. Now, in each year, 11 and 12, there are 4 modules. In year 11, those 4 modules are covered in 3 terms. So it is jam-packed, and there's the 4 modules that they'll cover and a brief description of each one. Kinematics, dynamics, waves and thermodynamics, electricity and magnetism, and a brief description of what each one's about. Kinematics is about motion, for example, position, velocity, acceleration, speed, momentum, inertia, etc. Dynamics is about forces, the effect of forces on the motion of the objects. Waves and dynamics, as the thermodynamics, as the name suggests, is about waves, but not just water waves. We're looking at sound waves and light waves and any earthquake waves, anything that's wave nature. And thermodynamics is about the transfer of heat. And electricity and magnetism, they go hand in hand together. So to form the phenomenon of electromagnetic forces and also electromagnetism. So quite a lot of work is studied relating to that. Now in year 11, my apologies, year 12, the content there builds on what they were taught in year 11. So there's advanced mechanics, which builds on the kinematics course and the dynamics course, and it looks at gravity quite heavily and how it affects motion. Electromagnetism takes their electromagnetism from year 11 further and looks at the interaction between electricity and magnetism, specifically things like motors, generators, power, transmission of electricity, and many other concepts as well. The nature of light, so we take one of the wave specifics from the year 11 course and look at light, because it's very, very topical, and it did lead to the understanding of quantum physics and relativity. And finally, from the universe to the atom, and talks about how the universe began, specifically the Big Bang, and how the atom was formed and matter was formed, leading on to more complex structures. Now, there are depth studies. So in each year there's a depth study. So in year 11 and 12, the students are required to undertake a depth study in physics, and as the name suggests, it is a deeper study of some topic. So it can be anything that relates to what they're learning, and usually it's an investigation or some sort of activity that the students complete individually or collaboratively, depending on what the teacher dictates, that allows them to further develop one or more concepts that they've learnt about in the syllabus. It may be an investigation or activity or a series of investigations or activities, and the depth study could be, for example, practical investigations or secondary sourced investigations. Could be research assignments or fieldwork reports. The current group visited Luna Park, and we did a depth study on the forces involved in many of the rides that they went on, analysing the forces that were involved in the rides. And it could be an extension of other topics found in the course, qualitative or quantitatively. Now, the requirements for a depth study are that there is a minimum of 15 hours in class time allocated in both years 11 and 12. So mostly conducted in class, free to do whatever they like towards that out of class time, but that sort of time is provided for them to undertake their research for their depth study with a lot of assistance from those around them or the teacher. At least one depth study in both year 11 and 12, as been said, and a description of what criteria they need to meet. So their working scientifically outcomes must be addressed, and knowledge outcomes, understanding outcomes, which are outlined in the syllabus. Now, the assessment of the topic is, this page describes, this is a screenshot from their assessment booklet. So in year 11, they get 3 tasks. This current group, the tasks were held in term 1, term 3 in those weeks. And the breakdown is, the first one is that it's practical. The second task is it's the depth study. And the third one is the examination, and each one has got a value of 30%, 30%, 40%. Obviously adds up to give them 100% for their in-school assessment. And in year 12, looks similar, not the same. 3 tasks again. Their course starts in term 4 of the year 11 year. In term 4 they become year 12s. So the year 12 starts there. So we begin with a practical task. That's worth 30%. Task 2, conducted in term 2, which is the depth study for year 12. And this year it was on the University of the Atom. That's worth 40%. And the third task is the trial exam. And the trial exam has got a value of 30% to give a total of 100%. Of course, this can change from year to year. That's what the current group went through. Very similar for the group next year, maybe some minor changes to that. So that's a very brief description of the physics course. So I just suggest that you are quite free to contact the school or myself to ask questions, or the student can come up and see me and talk about the physics course, or even our other teacher of physics, Mr. Dorrington, who will be teaching the year 12 next year. I'll be teaching the year 11. They can approach Mr. Dorrington and ask him for more detail about the nature of the courses. So I hope all that was helpful. Thank you, and I hope to see some of your students next year. So bye for now.